you. Good evening. Welcome to the Wareham Conservation Commission meeting of Wednesday, January 18th, 2023. I will read a statement that will hold for all of our hearings. All hearings of the Wareham Conservation Commission are held simultaneously under the authority of the Massachusetts Wetlands Protection Act and the Town of Wareham Wetland Protection Act bylaw, Division 6. Although a single decision of the commission is issued, it represents a separate decision under each authority. And this will reduce the amount of time Kwame has to read a hearing. So are you ready to start with the first one? Oh, first everybody introduce yourself so everybody knows who's here.
Hi, Kwame Barty.
Denise Schultz.
Michael Mercier.
Joshua Ferry.
Sandy Slavin.
Carol Melanson.
Nicole Acurdo.
Thank you. All right. First up.
Okay, so I get to read this once, right?
She already read that.
Are we doing the RDA, the first one, very first one?
Yes.
Okay, excellent. Let me just get that up. Hold on for 1 second. Okay, so this is a public hearing request for a determination of applicability for James R. Andrade. Is that the first one we're doing?
Yes.
30 Salt Marsh Lane, Wareham, Mass. And that is to construct a garage adjacent to an existing dwelling.
And why don't you read the map and lot number?
The map and the lot number.
I have it right here. The dwelling is located on Assessor's Map 20, Lot 1016B. So this is an RDA request to build a 1.5 car garage. The applicant cannot represent himself because he lives in Singapore. I met with him early last month, and we've kind of been spearheading this via email. So I have to apologize. The plan wasn't very clear, and when you guys went out there, you may not have realized where the actual garage was proposed. But it was proposed on the right-hand side of the property as you entered the driveway. It is a 1.5 car garage that is 38 feet by 25 feet. It's located within the buffer of a salt marsh, outside of the established 30-foot no disturbance zone. This area is previously disturbed with crushed stone, and it appears that it was storage for decorative stone, maybe while they were doing work for the order of conditions that they had. He's not looking for potentially a decision tonight, but he wants the board's recommendations on how he can get the project approved. From the staff level, I would propose that we install erosion controls along. There's a split rail fence behind the project, and then the erosion control should follow the 30-foot no disturbance zone located behind the project. I would also say that dry wells should be included with the description of the project. With that being said, if there's more concerns from the commission, I can reach out to him and we can move forward that way.
Okay, Kwame, questions?
Salt Marsh Lane Road. No questions right now, thank you.
Denise?
The only concern I had was off the topic of the build, had to do with the gazebo.
Oh, that gazebo.
And there were no stakes, obviously.
Yep. So before you ask your questions, I'll just talk about the gazebo quickly. So it appears that the gazebo appeared in 2019 or 2020, sometime in that time frame. It is within the 100-foot buffer, but I do not believe it's within the 30-foot no disturbance zone. So.
But it was built without
Correct.
permit.
Correct. So we could potentially add it to this RDA and have them resubmit, or we could do a new RDA and have that be the only item on that.
Anything else, Denise?
Now, if it went through as a new RDA, then he would be charged the
It would be an after-the-fact filing, which would be double the fee.
versus just lumping it in with this.
Correct. Well, if you lumped it in with this, we could still consider an after-the-fact filing, and it depends on which way the board wants to go.
Okay, and then if they want to issue fines also, it's up to the board.
Correct.
Okay, that's all I had on that.
Michael?
No questions at this time, thank you.
Carol?
No questions at this time?
Nicole?
No questions, thank you.
Yes, I was quite surprised to find that gazebo, and I'm also quite surprised to find that the salt marsh is a nice rectangular distance from the gazebo, set back all the way around. So boy, that's a nice trimming to keep that edge so nice and crisp. But I was concerned, if I look at the driveway, it dips down toward the marsh, but I see nothing here about leveling off the area for the garage. Or did I misread? I thought there was a slope going toward the wetlands.
I would agree that there is a slope going towards the wetlands. I would say this project is in its infancy, and we can make that concern known to him. I believe he is still going to work with an engineer. He just wanted to get this in front of the board.
He certainly has a lot of stones piled up and pallets of stones, so that's probably what he wants for his driveway.
I can't speak to that.
Okay, because it says an existing gravel driveway going to an existing garage, which is really just an extension of the house. It's not a gravel driveway. And I was wondering what he was planning to do over the existing gravel driveway. And the driveway that he has at the house is not the same as on the plan. It's got a slight little turnaround.
Yeah, I would agree with that. We can continue this hearing, and I can make our concerns known to him. Like I said, communication is a little difficult, but
Yep, so the plan he has came from a 2014 hearing in which there was no discussion on a gazebo. And the only thing we did in that plan was some pavers around the house. So I guess we're going to talk about leveling it, what material on the driveway, the change in the driveway configuration, and the gazebo.
yep. So I would recommend issuing a continuance on this to our
Okay.
next hearing.
Is there anybody in the audience that wants to speak to this 30 Salt Marsh project? I'm seeing none.
Move to continue to February 1st, is that the next meeting?
Yes.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed, abstained, 600. All right. Next one, please.
All right, this is a request for determination of applicability for Douglas H. Cameron, DFG, Office of Fishings and Boating Access, 1 Ribbit Road, Westboro, Mass. 01581. To remove and replace decking on existing stairway in timber pier located on Assessors Map 39, Lot 100169 Oak Street, Wareham, Mass.
Thank you. Is there anybody here representing this project? Please come forward and identify yourself.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Doug Cameron. I'm the Director and Chief Engineer for the Office of Fishing and Boating Access.
All right, please explain the project.
This project is located at what's known as Tempest Knob Boat Ramp off of Oak Street. The original facility was built in 1957 through a state contract. In 1991, we received an order of conditions to reconstruct the facility, including the parking lot, the boat ramp, and the timber pier that was originally constructed. In 1992, our office entered into a land management agreement with the town of Wareham to take over the day-to-day management and operations of the facility, and the state is responsible for capital expenditures at that location. So when reconstruction and repairs need to be done, it comes on the dime of the state and not the town. This particular project is consistent with that. The stairway leading from the parking lot down to the timber pier is deteriorated to a point where it needs to be replaced. In addition to that, the walking surface, the decking on the timber pier is also in deteriorated state and needs to be replaced as well. So that's the essence of this project, is replace the stairway treads and the stringers that support the stairway treads on the stairway, and then pull off the deck boards on the pier and replace them with new deck boards. The work can be performed completely within or on top of the existing structures, so no equipment or machinery or storage of debris or what have you has to take place in any of the resource areas. The contractor does have room to place a dumpster on the paved surface next to the pier, so there won't be any impact on that. The plan is, provided we have the necessary approval here, is to proceed with reconstruction this spring with a completion date around May 1st, May 15th. So that's a brief description of the project and how we would proceed with the work. So if there's any questions, I'm happy to try to answer those.
Thank you. Josh, anything to add?
The only thing that I would add, and I don't see Mr. Cameron having an issue with this, is any material during the deconstruction, if it falls in the resource area or the water, should be removed immediately.
Yep.
Other than that, I think he did a good job of laying out the project.
Thank you. Questions? Kwame?
So everything is an exact state right now as it is, but the stairs are there are no other changes made with that, right? You're not going further out, you just...
No, everything is
stays.
replacement in kind.
Yep.
Yep.
And to be clear, what you're looking at here is the plan when they originally did the restoration and the reconfiguration. So even though it shows there's 2 sets of stairs going down to the ramp, the pier, there's only one. So it's hard to visualize what is being done when you're looking at an old plan that shows the condition prior to the update, correct?
Agreed.
Okay,
But I think
What you
my
put in,
point in
what you
submitting
put in,
that
yeah, what you
is-
put in red is the new stuff.
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly. My point in showing that is it's inconsistent with the approval that we received prior to this, and so there's no changes to the footprint or anything. And so what you saw and what was built in 1993 is what you'll see and what will be built as part of this project.
Okay. Anything else, Kwame?
No, thank you.
Denise?
Just what materials are going to be used? Is it going to be the wood, replaced with the wood again, or are you using?
Current materials is a southern yellow pine CCA treated lumber. That will be removed and will be replaced with Ipe lumber, which is a tropical hardwood that's resistant to rot and debris and various things. It's very durable, fire resistant, high rate.
Okay, thank you.
Michael?
Footprint was my only issue. That was already addressed. Thank you.
Carol?
No questions.
Kwame? Sorry.
No questions.
Nicole?
No questions, thank you.
So you're going to remove the planking and the stairs?
Not the stairs, just the part that you walk on.
Okay, the treads?
Yes.
And they'll be totally removed?
And
How will you control the nails as that planking is removed? Very carefully?
Well, the nails will be removed as well.
I know, but what happens if, like, a plank would fall in, something could fall into the water? I was wondering what cautions you would take to prevent nails from accidentally falling into the work site, because they're bare feet around there. Just something, I don't know how you can.
Yeah, I don't know how I can
The answer
either.
is
I mean...
You'll be very careful.
Yeah, the one bit of control we have is I would prepare technical specifications that the contractors would have to abide by. And so, like Josh's comment about removal of any debris that falls into the water, we could add, that the work shall be performed in a workmanlike fashion to minimize, things falling into the water and those types of things. So, and where this is a kind of a joint project between the town of Wareham and my office, I could present it to Josh, or I have a close working relationship with the harbor master or somebody from Public Works to make sure that the wording.
Okay.
Yep.
So you'll clear this with Menard and Buckminster?
Yep.
Okay. Is there anybody here that would like to comment on this project? I'm seeing none.
Move to close the hearing.
Second?
I have a motion and a
No, it'd
Nope.
be a request to issue a -2 determination.
will we close the hearing?
Sorry. You're right.
-2.
It's different how we do it.
Okay, we're going to close the hearing. I have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed, abstained, 600. Now, we're going to issue,
Standard order of conditions negative.
it's an RDA.
It's an RDA, so just a -2 determination.
Yes.
Correct.
That's the motion.
Second.
I have a second. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed, abstained. Done.
I have the certified, do you collect those
I
or
keep
no?
asking about the green cards.
You just turn those into Josh.
I'll take them.
I got all but one back, but the original mailing receipt is.
Okay.
Yep.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, everyone.
Thank you.
Welcome, thank you.
Next one, please.
Okay, this is a request for determination of applicability for Warren, 176 Main Street, QOZB LLC. DAF Engineering, 266 Main Street, Wareham, Mass. 02571, to install a 10-foot wide access driveway and regrade existing land to prevent runoff, located on Assessors Map 47, Lot 113, 176 Main Street, Wareham, Mass.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Nice to meet you.
I have half-size if anybody's interested in those.
Big one.
We got, thank you. Bill, please identify yourself for the record.
Bill Madden from GAF Engineering here on behalf of the applicant.
Thank you. You're up. Oh, the applicant goes first now.
Oh, okay.
Surprise.
I was waiting for the agent's report.
Since Josh came, you haven't seen
Okay, no, that's fine. Let's see, this determination was precipitated by some work that had taken place in land subject to coastal storm flowage without the benefit of Conservation Commission approval. So we were asked to prepare an after-the-fact RDA for the work that took place on the site, and that's what the plan before you represents. The banking or the slope at the west side of the property, that was excavated, and so was a small portion of the flat area behind the building at 176. So a portion of that land is in land subject to coastal storm flowage, so as you know, it required a permit from conservation. So we met with the applicant, we came up with this plan. Since the area had already been excavated and sloped off, we thought that it was appropriate to design and call for some significant slope stabilization measures to be put on there. It's rather steep. We have winter months in front of us. So in order to maintain stability of the slope and keep the sediment of that slope reasonably on site, we have shown an erosion control blanket to be installed on the slope, as well as placement of accommodation silt fence and hay bale barrier at the toe of the slope, whether it's on the north side, west side, or east side. So Those are all noted on the plan. So we thought that the most important thing is to get the sedimentation under control. And the way the grading is shown on the plan, it's all a negative grade from the building going back toward the slope and from the slope toward this little area that's designated as elevation 11, so that in the event there is some ponding of runoff in the area, it would be confined to that disturbed area. Additionally, we showed a crushed stone. It's called a driveway. It's really an access way due to the need to get into the cleanup some of the debris and things that have accumulated over time behind the site. So that's really there just to prevent tracking of mud, dirt, and what have you into the parking lot, into the town's stormwater collection system and what have you. And all those are reflected on the plan. And it all originated from a discussion about some work that was conducted without the benefit of a determination from conservation. So this is what we propose for mitigation for that action.
Josh, anything to add?
I was just going to add that it looked like an after the fact, but it appears that was determined before I arrived, so will the access road remain after all the work is complete?
I think that we probably expect another project to take place in that area, so it will remain for an interim period of time.
And is all the grading complete as of right now?
If there was a structure or something to be placed there, I think that we would need some grading to take place on that flat area, but as far as the slope goes, I think that we might just find some further planting in addition to the seed mix that has been specified so far.
Okay, I'm all set then.
Okay. Kwame, questions?
It's just a little concerned because this was done after the fact. I just feel bad for the neighbors because that slope is going to be, it's bad. So I guess what you're doing right now to remediate it, I mean that's a good thing. But I do feel that that after effect is pretty rough, I think, because it was really detrimental to that area. So that's how I feel, but.
Denise, yes, fines for both.
There are the properties up at the top. There's a wall that I saw up there, and there's, I think, 4 trees. Is what you're doing now going to stop those things from coming down until when you actually get to build something there? I mean, it looks really dangerous the way it is. It looks like the wall's going to come down, the trees are going to come down. I mean, it just looks like nothing is stabilized there.
Yeah, I think that stabilization of slope is first and foremost to be taken care of out there. When I was out there, I did look at the wall and I did look at the trees. I didn't see the wall being undercut. I didn't see the trees root system being undercut either, but I agree with your thoughts on it. We think that the stabilization of that slope, providing adequate vegetation, will prevent further erosion in any sedimentation that might result. So it's important to get some vegetation planted there sooner versus later. We have a long time, a year, to establish
So I'm
it.
thinking, what is going to be done now to make sure that through the winter time, this
The erosion control blanket. So that's why we specified an erosion control blanket that will dissipate the energy of the rainfall and prevent some rill and gully erosion. It's really, I think, the only solution at this time. I mean, we really need to get it vegetated quickly when the weather is appropriate.
Okay, and he's going to take care of if that wall comes down?
It would be the applicant's responsibility to make that repair. Should the wall come down, we're very hopeful that it isn't. I think that if a condition did present itself that it might be problematic, I think we'd have to go back up there and put additional stabilization at the face of that wall to prevent, any
So
further
somebody's going to keep an
problem.
eye on it through the winter, I'm
Correct,
assuming?
yes.
Okay. Thank you, Bill.
Sure.
Michael, questions?
Again, I had the same concerns. If that dirt, whatever ever comes, just comes gushing down in a big rainstorm, that wall could come down. But other questions than that, I'm not sure what additional questions I could add, but that was just my big concern, because there's a lot of dirt there, adjacent on top of the wall. That was my big concern, let's put it that way. Thank you.
Carol, any questions?
No other questions, thank you.
Nicole?
No questions, thank you.
All right, my turn. Why was that excavated in the first place? Nothing's being done to the building, so why did they go in there and dig down that hill? It serves no purpose, correct? I mean, I was
don't
going to say,
think it-
why did Danny go ahead and do that before?
I can't
You
speak to, I can't.
You weren't involved with the thinking that went down and dug away that hillside? Yeah,
No,
I know. You came in after the fact also.
right.
So, I wonder who did the excavation. I know who the owner is, Danny Warren. I'd like to find out who did the work without a permit from Conservation, because I'd like to issue fines for both the contractor and the owner for doing work without approval. Any discussion?
I don't have any problem with that.
We definitely have to
Same
issue.
here.
But I don't know who started the digging before we got the complaint.
Can you provide us or find out what the name of the contractor was?
Yes,
Okay, so, part of our motion will be issuing a $300 fine to the contractor once identified, and $300 fine to Danny Warren as the owner of the property. And it's a negative what?
I believe it'd be a -2.
Okay,
But also make sure the stipulation is in there that if any damage is done to the top walls
Yep.
and things, he's responsible for repairs.
Yeah, that would be a civil matter, and
Yep.
we don't have the ability to really condition.
not on an
RDAs.
RDA.
Not on
Is there anybody in the audience who would like to speak to this project? I'm seeing none.
Move to close the hearing?
I have a motion to close the hearing.
Move to an RD.
Close it first.
Close it.
Yeah.
Second.
I have a motion and a second to close the hearing.
Sorry, I'm sorry.
Mike?
Vote to close the hearing. Aye.
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 Opposed, abstained, 600. Now, someone want to take a hint at the motion?
Now we tackle it.
Now we can tackle it. We move to accept the RDA with a -2, with a $300 fine to both the owner and the excavation company,
Contractor.
contractor. Okay.
He may not be the excavator, but he's
Okay, but
probably
the contractor then who handled it. Is
So
that- was that
we
it?
have approval for the -2 for the after the fact filing, and the $300 fine, contractor and owner.
Second.
I have a motion, that was the motion, Denise made second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed, abstain. Thank you.
okay, thanks very much for your time.
Okay, next, please.
Let me just get set up here. All right, so, let's see here. Okay, so this is a notice of intent for Paula T. and Anita E. Atkins, 41 Prospect Street, Wareham, Mass. To construct a pervious driveway, reconstruct an existing footpath, flush cut plants, and replant the area with native plants. Sorry, I don't have the lot.
Assessors Map 3, Lot 249, 41 Prospect Street.
Thank you.
And who's representing the applicant in this hearing?
Good evening, Brad Bertolo of JC Engineering. With me tonight is Paul Atkins, the property owner.
Okay,
Do you guys have plans?
yes. You're up.
Again, Brad Bertolo with JC Engineering on behalf of the applicant. This property is located at 41 Prospect Street. The site contains existing single-family dwelling, detached garage, typical appurtenances for a house, grassed yard. This site is also adjacent to Onset Bay. There's a pre-existing set of steps that lead down to the water, and various paths and stairways. What the site does lack is adequate off-street parking. So the applicant would like to construct a driveway that provides access for a couple vehicles off the property. The existing garage is set in an area that doesn't really allow any parking in front. It's only a maybe 5-foot separation from the front street line. There are also a number of mature trees across the front of the property and walkway that the applicant would like to maintain. The location of the driveway is situated where the difference in elevation between the yard and the street is at its minimum. That'd be the north side of the property. As you head to the south, there's a roughly 2.5 foot grade change between the street and the yard. So it would require some digging into the bank, which may impact the root systems of these trees and, disturb some shrubbery and walls that are currently there. So we looked at the option of placing a driveway at the north side, but doing so, we're looking at constructing a retaining wall and some minor fill to repitch the driveway back into the street as opposed to headed towards the coastal bank. Current coastal bank right now is a vegetated bank. The purpose of a coastal bank serves two functions. One, it can supply a sediment source to a nearby beach or adjacent beach, which is not the case in this situation. In this property, the coastal bank serves a function of storm damage prevention. We looked at the option of trying to eliminate any work on a coastal bank, but it just wouldn't provide enough driveway length to fit a proper vehicle, standard vehicle, off of the street and on the owned property. So as part of this project, we are looking to do work, one, within a coastal bank, and two, within the buffer zone of the coastal bank. As you can see on the plan, the orange hatched area represents the footprint of the proposed bank. We are proposing a fence on the street side of that, whether it's actually built above the wall or in the wall. The applicant hasn't decided that. We are proposing some minor fill. The current driveway, or current area, is approximately elevation 28. In areas, it does dip as low as 26, 24 within the footprint of the proposed retaining wall. After completion of grading, we're proposing to have the grade pitched into the street where any surface water runoff from the driveway, which is anticipated to be pervious. I think crushed stone is preferred by the applicant and not stone, not shell. So that repitching of that specific area will help minimize the amount of runoff that's directed towards the coastal bank in that area. As mitigation for the proposed work on the bank, we are proposing a restoration of vegetation in the highlighted area. This area is mainly void of of vegetation. It's more of a leaf litter in that area. There's not much shrubbery that helps stabilize that bank. So as mitigation for the proposed work that's shown on this plan, we are proposing a mix of salt-tolerant species and the remaining area stabilized with a conservation seed mix. To protect the work from the driveway, we are installing an erosion control barrier consisting of a silt fence and straw bales. That's that thick black line, so limiting the footprint or disturbance of the coastal bank as much as possible. We are also maintaining a separation, vertical separation from the 100-year floodplain. So lowest elevation that's proposed to be disturbed with the hay bale, or up to the hay bale line, is elevation 22. In this case here, the 100-year flood elevation is elevation 20. The top of coastal bank extends higher than the flood elevation due to the topography or the slope of this bank. So that's the reason why the coastal bank is that far forward of the proposed wall. It's just because of the slope of the bank. The other aspect of the project is, I guess, vegetation restoration and basically reconstructing a footpath around this property. As the applicants told me, this property's been in the family for 90-plus years. If you've been to the site, you can see that the area that's highlighted in green basically was planted at one time by the past owners. Even on the water side of the path, it's all planted vegetation. It's pretty heavily overgrown. In most areas, some of these shrubs are beyond their lifetime, just root system, and there's no leaf or vegetation to the actual shrubs. So the client would like to, or the applicant would like to selectively prune. I don't think you're trying to take every shrub out, but the ones that are in the worst shape, and replant and revegetate with similar species to help stabilize that bank. The footpath itself is kind of at I don't say unsafe, but not a comfortable slope to walk on. So as part of the project, we are looking to install some small timbers on the low side with some emplacement of little fill, just to kind of get that cross slope a little easier. And then the surface itself, we're proposing to plant or stabilize with some type of clover seed mix, something that requires low maintenance, maybe just mowing a couple times a year. Doesn't need to be fertilized like a typical grass lawn. Again, the work, both projects are within the coastal bank, but I think that what we're proposing will ultimately be a benefit to the future stabilization in this area.
Paul, did you want to add anything?
As Brian said, the property has been in my family for 90-plus years, probably. My grandfather was a great purveyor of, proper procedure, created all of the seawalls around the property to prevent the bank from, eventually eroding into the bay. It has been improved in the last, I'm going to say 10 years probably, with permits. I know the seawall was starting to tip over, and it has been reinforced and actually augured back into the hill, so hopefully it will never tip over. Every single one of those yews on the banking was planted by my grandfather. They were all small
They look
trees.
it. They've been, those junipers, and they've been there over 90 years.
They've been
yes.
there a long
Oh,
time.
yeah.
Yes.
They've seen better
And,
days.
you know, my goal is just to bring the property back to, you know, the pristine estate it used to be. It's an outstanding piece of property. Very fortunate to be able to own it and would like to make it, you know, everything it can be. But it does lack any place to park other than actually in the street, which is extremely hazardous to anybody. Vehicles going up and down the road, any fire trucks or anything, couldn't get by there very easily, so as I worked with JC Engineering, my goal was actually to go out even further, but they've recommended we hold ourselves to about a full car length from the edge of the existing wall, and we would create, as he shows on his plan, a infeed to that area with cobblestone or something that, you know, is comparable to my neighbor's, actually. So it looks,
You're just going to
Nice.
recommend that all your visitors have Mini Coopers.
yeah, well, no,
I'm sorry.
I'm sorry, we have Ford F-350s, so that's why we've asked to come out to 26 feet, because you need, I don't want to be tailgating the street if I can avoid it at all.
Their hitches will be in the way of the street. They
No,
really got to get in.
I-
Sorry, personal comment on that one. Josh, anything to add on the project?
Yeah, so it appears that you've been pulling your cars up onto the lawn already. Is that same
Well,
place? Yeah?
yeah.
It's just a comment, not really a concern.
No, I've
It's
just
just
been
sort of-
driving onto the lawn because I have no other place to really go, so.
So, do you guys have to go to, like, the municipal department to get a curb cut?
We can check into that.
Yeah, I'm just not sure how that works. So I would recommend looking into that. The other concern I have is, I would like to know how many plants you plan on replanting and what species they are.
Where would that be?
All over the plan, you just say you're gonna restore with a mix of salt-tolerant shrubs.
Okay.
I'd just like to know what they are and how many.
Okay.
I don't know, as he has a specific,
Yeah, we have a number of plants specified on the last item within the restoration plan.
Okay.
It includes bearberry, northern bayberry, beech plum, and common juniper. And I'm calling out for about 4-foot max on center.
Okay. Oh, sorry, I just must have overlooked it.
Yeah.
That, I am no longer concerned about that, thank you. With that being said, I have no other comments.
Okay. Questions? Kwame?
No questions, just a little concern with that driveway where, you know, if you go with the, on your plan, it has that large fence, that white fence, and you're gonna go down like maybe, 10, I'm sorry. Yeah, about 10 more feet down, I mean, that's a big drop, no?
Well, originally, he wanted to go out a lot further, and it was looking
Yeah,
at like a
just a-
10-foot wall similar to the neighbors. So we pulled it, we thought that it'd be a little more beneficial to pull it out of the velocity zone, and the lowest grade at the retaining wall is 24, and the proposed driveway grade is 28.5, so it's about 4
Can't
feet.
do anything else than that.
Yeah.
Unless you're gonna move that big tree and go out the long way.
We looked at the option of pulling in and turning to the side, but it just doesn't give it can't really maneuver into it and have the width to fit the vehicles.
No, that's it.
Denise?
So my understanding is where that white fence is now, you're pushing it back, you're going to fill in so that it's level, not level, tilted towards the street. And you're going to put that white fence back at the end of it, or what do you?
No,
what do you
probably
do?
won't put that white fence back, but
Okay.
something similar, just high enough so nobody can, fall off the cliff that's there.
All right,
I don't know what code permits these days, is that a 30?
Yes.
I think in the front, they
6
have
inch.
like a 4-foot fence you're allowed in the front yard.
Yeah, it's in this case here, it's going to be a 4-foot drop at the highest point, so some type of small barrier, similar to,
So somebody doesn't drive.
a house on a deck,
Drive off the end of it.
a guardrail on a deck, 38, 36 inches roughly.
All right, so then,
Minimal.
and then you're going in between the junipers, you're gonna cut some of those down, not all of them down, and you're gonna level off the path, and you're putting wooden things on the path.
My original thought was make the path level and cut into the upside, but JC has suggested instead of cutting into the hill and making it steeper, I bring the lower side higher.
Okay, so you're bringing it up on one side.
So, yeah, so a few 6x6 railroad tie type pieces of wood
Back in
to
there. All
to
right,
make the surface level again,
when I
or
looked,
close to it.
looking through the junipers, there was a gate that was locked that goes down to a tier or something down there. There's a grassy tier.
Yes,
Is anything happening with that?
no,
That's staying the same?
it stays exactly the same.
Okay, that was all my questions. Thank you.
Michael?
I guess one question I have on here is only grassy areas depicted on this map are getting revegetated? Like, for example, on the driveway, there's a green area, a green portion
Yep.
right there, and then you go further down, I guess where there's stairs, and I guess where the footpath would begin, going further down, and that's also green, it's also highlighted green. So those are the only areas that are getting revegetated, and not this white area in between? Is that my understanding?
We were proposing to revegetate the area that's on the water side of the coastal bank. I mean, not coastal bank, the retaining wall. That's the upper one that they're pointing at now.
Correct, I pointed that out. So that area is green, and then it stops where it says top of coastal bank,
Yep.
or where it's, then all of a sudden, that area that's white, until it looks like it becomes green again, or there's a footpath again.
Yeah.
So nothing's going to...
Disturbed.
Yeah, we're not disturbing anything, or, yeah, that's more of a bank that's more natural. It's got more vegetation in that area.
Okay. All right.
Carol?
No questions.
Nicole?
No questions, thank you.
Is there anybody in the audience would like to speak to this project? Those junipers are so old. I have no idea how you're going to, once you start removing them, how you're going to get anything left that has any shape or...
I don't plan to remove all those junipers, because as you look at the junipers from the house above, there is kind of a nice bank, but from below, I would like to stop planting new ones to slowly but surely
Okay,
maybe overtake that space.
so the ones you do cut, you will leave the roots in place and plant around them?
I will, exactly.
Okay. There's nobody in the audience. I've done with all questions.
Move to close the hearing.
I have a motion to close the
Second.
hearing and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstained. The hearing is closed.
Move to accept the project with standard order of conditions. Negative anything?
Nope. I don't think we're adding anything to the standard order of conditions.
Nope.
So that's the motion.
Second.
I have a second. All in favor? Aye. Opposed, abstained. Approved. Before you start any work, get your paperwork from Josh.
All righty, thank you.
Beautiful
Thank you very
site.
much. It is one of the best on the...
And your neighbor. That's quite a wall he put there.
Oh, yes.
We made him
Mr. Karadimas.
redo it,
Yeah, I know,
big time.
I know.
All right, next one.
Thank you.
Next, thank you.
Kwame, hold on, before you begin.
Yep.
Due to this property being a stone's throw from my house, I'm gonna have to set this one out.
Okay.
That's,
So at 7:20, Michael is leaving the table because of the 8 Beach Plum Lane. 7:20. Okay, Kwame.
Okay, request for a notice of intent for David and Judy Gasfriend, excuse me, GAF Engineering, 266 Main Street, Wareham, Mass. 02571, to remove a first floor deck, construct in addition, reconstruct stairs, landing, relocate an outdoor shower located on Assessors Map 28, Lot M7, 8 Beach Plum Lane, Wareham, Mass.
Thank you. And who's here to represent this project? Please identify yourself.
Bill Madden from JF Engineering here on behalf of the applicant.
Thank you.
Oh, yeah, I go first. It's hard to get used to. It's been a while the other way around, but
Just
that's all right.
Only 30 years worth.
Yeah, exactly. The applicant in this instance, they have a wraparound deck, an existing wraparound deck on the structure, that what they're essentially looking to do is convert that deck to first floor living space and reconstruct the deck at the roof level of that first floor living space, and that's what's represented on the plan. The resource area that we're dealing with here is Coastal Bank. You can see that we have it marked on the plan as top of Coastal Bank. It's figure 2 in the DEP policy 92-1. We're above the flood zone in this particular instance, so with the structure, there's not a need to provide any structure compliant with FEMA construction standards. So in this case, we can just use conventional construction methodology. So what we're looking at doing there is standard spread footing with stem wall foundation, wood framing, and then wood framing on the deck above it. So we're showing the work to be at its closest point. It's about 10.5 feet away from the top of the coastal bank. That's in line with the existing structure. Everything is to be conducted within the footprint of the existing structure, with a couple of exceptions. Those exceptions would be the 2 cement concrete pads at the egress doorways. There's an outdoor at the northwest side of the site, and at the southeast side of the site, there's a small relocated outdoor shower that's proposed at that location. There's also reconstruction of existing deck and some landings and footprints on the most northerly portion of the site that's shaded. All that work will be conducted in the footprint of the existing building. You also note on the west side of the building, there's a path that's shown, but that's a mowed grass path through some more substantial grass that's on the site. Right now, the coastal bank itself is very well vegetated. Within, say, 50 feet or so of the house, there is a stone revetment that's further down to I'll call it the south, that provides access to the beach. There's no activities proposed in that area with respect to the site. The performance standard for a bank is, in this instance, is where it does not supply sediment to a beach, a dune, or a barrier beach, so therefore it qualifies as a bank that's providing storm damage prevention in the area. So stability of the bank is what we have to deal with. We don't think that this construction on the flat part of the site, although it is within 100 feet of the top of the bank, we don't envision any stability issues with that, with the design. As I said, it is a standard spread footing stem wall foundation, full living space on that first floor, and then the second floor deck. So from a construction standpoint, we'll be removing that deck right up to the face of the house and just starting with new construction in that footprint. So that's what the intention is there. You'll see that the 100-foot limit of the coastal bank resource area extends to the north, goes over the septic system. There is no need to modify the septic system. There's not going to be any additional bedrooms proposed with the improvement, and we think it's a relatively straightforward project. Happy to answer any questions you might have.
Josh?
My only concern is you're gonna have a tight window of construction access on the side of the house there, but other than that, I'm all set.
Okay, questions, Kwame?
No, whatever Josh said, that was my concern too, with that other side of the house. With the bathroom, sorry. I mean, shower.
Shower side.
This may
Denise?
be a first, but I have no questions for you,
Whoa.
Bill.
Carol?
No questions, thank you.
Nicole?
No questions, thank you.
I have none. Is there anybody in the audience who would like to speak for this project? I'm seeing none.
Move to close the hearing.
I have a motion to close the hearing and a second. All in
Second.
favor? Aye. Opposed,
Aye.
abstained?
0. Is he an
500.
0? Okay. He doesn't count as an abstain?
Nope,
No, okay.
he's not here.
All right, move to accept the project with a standard order of conditions.
Yes, that's the motion, and I have a second. All in favor? Aye. Opposed, abstained, 500. Please, nothing gets started until you get your paperwork from Josh. And let the record show that at 7:27, Mike returns.
All righty, thank you very much.
Okay. Thanks very much for your time, much appreciated. Have a good night.
Good night.
Typo.
Are you done?
I am done.
7.
All right.
27.
27.
Next one, please.
What's his number?
Okay, this is a request of a notice of intent for Felicia, say that right? Dosius, is that right?
Close enough.
Close, I'm sorry. Thomas Rue, 89 Mayflower Lane, East Wareham, Mass. 02538, to replace an existing septic system with a new Title V septic system located on Assessors Map 102, Lot 1026, 43 Galt Road, Wareham, Mass.
And who's representing this project?
I'm the civil engineer. I'm the one representing it, and the owner is the owner of the property, not here tonight.
And your name?
Thomas Rue.
Thank you.
Thomas, what?
On the hearing.
Thomas Rue.
Okay, Tom, I gather you got green cards for us?
I do.
Just don't trip. You can give them to,
That return never just didn't happen, it didn't go through. And I sent them all out, because I sent you a copy of the certified abutters list from the
Correct.
assessor's office. That's all the receipts, which you already have, and those are the cards. I didn't get all the cards, so I think I got back all but 2.
Okay.
you tried.
Yep.
Okay. So, Tom, I'm going to ask you to describe the project.
The project, it entails or consists of, there was I guess a little snafu on this project that someone had done a Title V on this approximately 5-6 years ago, and they passed it somehow. And it was originally a 3-bedroom house. It's now a 6-bedroom house. So the system was never updated. I don't know how they got that through, but anyway, that's what I had to deal with. So so now my new system design is designed for a 6-bedroom. In fact, I just went to the Board of Health meeting early this evening at 5 o'clock.
I was going to ask you, do they approve?
Yeah.
Thank
yeah.
you.
Yep. So my system, I spoke with the Board of Health agent and also the conservation agent before I get too far into these things. And he said, the conservation agent, the Board of Health agent rather, said he wanted to have an IA unit, which is an innovative and alternative pretreatment system, which helps to reduce but not eliminate the amount of nitrogen and phosphorus that enter the groundwater because of the wetland there, and there's also a stream further off in the woods as well. So the new system is going to be orders of magnitude better than what's there now.
Thank you. Josh?
Yeah, I would say this is a better system, and I believe it's further away from the resource area.
Yeah, it's as far away as I can get it. It's as far away from the wetland as I can possibly get it.
I'd say my only concern may be with the erosion control. I'm not sure how the commission feels about silt sock in terms of that versus hay bales.
Well, I selected the silt sock and silt fence because I've heard other people, and I've seen it in the field, where those hay bales, they just disintegrate and they just fall apart and they make a mess anyway.
The problem with the hay bale is if you put it with the string side on the ground, the strings tend to erode, and that's when the hay bale falls apart. Really, they should be installed with the strings wrapping around.
I don't do
But
that.
I agree, I have seen that as well.
So is the silt fence and silt sock okay, or, you can see it on the plan, I've got it from the corner of the house, running it all the way up to the property line so as to keep any sediment or anything running into the wetland.
Yeah, I would agree with the location of it is good. It would be up to the commission if they want to see it changed, or they may feel that it's appropriate. That's a decision they will make.
Okay. Questions? Start with Kwame.
No questions, thank you.
Denise?
The driveway that's there is already existing driveway?
Correct. Yeah, it's a paved driveway, yep.
Paved driveway, though. And I know, Josh, you explained this to me. What did SAS stand for?
Soil absorption system.
Tell me again.
Soil absorption system.
Soil absorption.
Essentially, that's those chambers, those 7 chambers. So what happens is the water enters the D box, the distribution box, and then in this case, it's gonna feed water into every other chamber, in this case, into 4 different chambers. So the water enters that chamber and then it soaks into the ground. It gets some treatment before it reaches the groundwater.
Okay, and it says that the shed is moving. Where's the shed going?
I put on there, shed is to be moved if necessary. In other words, if they have to move it, they'll just move it back, whatever, 2 feet or something like that. It's not like they're gonna move it 20 feet back. They're just gonna, if it even needs to be moved. In other words, if they don't need to move it, then obviously don't move it.
And the reason they would have to move it is with where you're placing the septic system? Or
No,
what
if
would be the reason for
they
moving
just
the
have trouble
shed?
getting around there with the machine or something like
Okay,
that, they
all
might
right.
have to, the shed is in pretty sad shape anyway, so if they took it down, I don't think that'd be the end of the world either.
Okay, thank you.
Michael?
So again, where's this septic system going again? Because it says 106 feet from the wetlands. So it's going in the front over here.
Right.
Gotcha, because I thought the stakes were in the back, very close to the wetland and the stream, when I visited the site. So it's going up here in the front.
Those stakes
I
are
marked it
probably
out.
the,
I marked it out on the site where the SAS was going. In other words, I went there with white paint, and I notified the conservation agent, said, hey, it's done. In other words, I went there with white spray paint, and I sprayed like an arrow, and I sprayed right on the pavement, SAS.
Right, it wasn't staked because it's within the driveway, so, and
I
if you went out when there was snow on the ground,
I
you
can't
wouldn't
put a
have
stake in the
seen.
driveway anyway.
Right, you wouldn't have seen it if
That's
it
why I used the
was.
paint.
It was covered with snow, so.
Right.
Okay.
but the stakes you saw are the wetland lines.
All right.
Yep.
Gotcha, okay.
Okay. Carol?
No questions.
Nicole?
No, Denise beat me to the shed question.
Okay.
You gotta start down that end every once in a while, Sandy.
Every time I
give
have
Nicole
one,
a
someone
break.
takes it.
You gotta give her a break.
Is there anybody here to comment on this project? I'm seeing none.
Move to close the hearing?
I have a motion
Second.
and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstained, the hearing is closed.
When do you guys want to make the motion? Go ahead, Nicole.
You want to, the standard order of conditions includes hay bale and silk fence.
Right.
Do you want to modify that to allow for a wattle? Wattle? Yeah,
No, it's a tube thing.
well, it's
Yeah, different terms
Just
for
a
the same
same
thing.
thing, different terms for the same thing.
Correct.
Right.
So,
I move that we accept the project with the standard order of conditions
with the wattle instead of hay bale.
with a wattle instead of hay bale.
Second.
It is labeled as silt sock on the plan. but
Sorry,
they-
silk sock.
Right, they are pretty much the same thing, so.
Okay, modify that to silk sock instead of hay bale. That's the motion. I heard a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstained? You got it.
Okay,
Just
All right.
don't start anything until you get our paperwork.
don't worry about it. Yeah, I
Thank
wanted to
you.
ask the conservation agent one thing. At the Board of Health meeting, they just asked me to add like a couple of minor little notes and stuff, so when that change is made, do you want a copy of that updated plan for your record?
Yes,
You want me to email you?
email's fine.
Okay, that's good enough.
Thank you.
The next hearing, please, it will be continued, but we have to open it.
Okay, this is a request of notice of intent for Dos Amigos Realty LLC, JC Engineering, 2854 Cranberry Highway, East Wareham, Mass. 02538, to construct a single-family dwelling, including a new driveway, deck, and associated grading and utilities located on Assessors Map 38, Lot 512 and 513, 12 Lodge Street, Wareham, Mass.
We've had a request for continuance until February 1st.
Move to continue.
I have a motion. Second, all in favor? Aye. Opposed, abstained? We are continued until 2/1.
Madam Chair, could I have a 2-minute break? I'm sorry.
Yes. Anybody else? We have a continued hearing. Notice of intent for Jeffrey Ringer. Is there anybody here representing this project? Please come forward and identify yourself, please.
Good evening, Brad Bertolo, JC Engineering.
Okay.
Thank you.
You're up.
Thank you. Again, this project was continued at the last hearing because we didn't have a DEP file number received yet, but we do now have one issued. Again, Brad Bertolo with JC Engineering on behalf of the property owners, Jeffrey and Brenda Ringer. This property is located at 16 Kennedy Street. Currently have an existing single-family dwelling, decks, steps, shed, driveway, within the buffer zone of Coastal Bank, Salt Marsh, and within riverfront area. The applicants would like to construct a 20 by 20 addition on the side of the house and a 6 by 24 farmer's porch across the front. We have that highlighted in pink on the proposed plan. We are proposing a 36.1-foot setback to the nearest resource area, which is the coastal bank, and we are providing a erosion control barrier shown in black that runs between the existing patio by the house and extends over to the existing shed. Due to work within the riverfront area, we are proposing some subsurface infiltration shown in blue. It's just to the east side of the proposed addition. We are also proposing to rework some of the existing gutters on the existing house so we can direct water into that same infiltration system. Basically, a majority of the existing house and the entirety of the 20 by 20 addition will be directed, or stormwater will be directed to that infiltration area. All the work's going to be taking place within existing lawn area, and we're not proposing any grade changes on the site. It's relatively level. If the commission has any questions, I'd be happy to answer.
Josh?
Yep, so this is a continued hearing. There were a few concerns that the commission had at our previous hearing, one being the fire pit, one being the dock that was located in the salt marsh. Are the infiltration basins a request due to it being in the riverfront? Is that where you landed with Mass DEP?
Yeah, I got an issue. There wasn't any comments. We went back and forth a couple times with DEP regarding the project. It was their determination that I had to provide an alternatives analysis because the proposed work is being constructed in an area that's not considered degraded. It's altered, riverfront area, it's just not degraded. Impervious areas, void of topsoil, that type of stuff. So as mitigation for the work, I know the proposed house is outside the 30-foot, or proposed addition is outside the 30-foot no touch. We're accounting for some of the runoff that's being discharged off the existing house that's within the 30-foot.
That's all I have, thank you.
Questions? Nicole?
Oh, I wasn't ready.
You messed her all up.
No questions right now, thank you.
Carol?
No questions, thank you.
Michael?
No questions, thanks.
Denise?
All right, so are we accepting then that this is disturbed land? Is that what I'm understanding?
It's when there's work being done within the riverfront area, they just have a different set of
Definition.
performance standards to follow, or definitions that need to be filed.
Okay.
They wanted additional information, an updated narrative. I actually, are you still want hard copies, or you just, I printed a new hard copy for the updated digital copy you received. I'm not sure if you want that for your records, or...
Yeah, I'll need at least one hard copy for my file.
Yeah.
And I believe you already emailed me it, so
Yeah.
I'm good there.
Okay.
It looks
But,
like you
yeah,
have
if-
green cards too.
I gave him,
Yeah, you got 'em. I got
gave him
them.
the envelope.
Yeah, it just has to do with riverfront, and so riverfront requires an alternatives analysis.
Okay.
So I believe
So it's
I mean, it's
That-
not, yeah, we looked at,
that's where the
you
concern.
can't push it outside the 100-foot riverfront area because it's a detached structure. Can't really go up. The main goal is to get a first-floor bedroom space, one floor living for a disabled family member, so that's the purpose of where the location is set on the property.
And the concerns that we had with was a fire pit, and there was something else.
The
The dock.
dock
within the-
on the salt marsh.
So I talked to him about it. He's aware that the float has to be removed from the salt marsh, And regarding the fire pit, I believe he mentioned it was set on an old septic cover, like maybe an old cesspool. I didn't confirm that or not, but it was just blocks placed on that location. I don't know the age of it, how long it's been there. If it was on a cesspool cover, it's been there for,
Oh, God, I'd
know,
hate to see that there was
50
a
years.
cesspool within 2 feet of the coastal bank.
yeah. It's on town sewer now, so.
Yes, Kwame?
I think I missed it, and I'm sorry. The infiltration system, yeah, I don't, could you go over that one more time so I can write that out?
Yeah, so we have a detail on plan to account for the additional impervious runoff from the proposed structure. We're proposing some piping that'll lead from the gutter downspouts below grade and discharge into a pit consisting of a couple concrete chambers with stone around and below to aid in the infiltration. Currently, it's a relatively level site, but it does pitch about 5 feet from the street out to the back of the house. It is grass. It's not anticipated to be a high velocity runoff, but, you know, runoff would pitch that way, so as mitigation, we're proposing that roof dry well system.
Thank you.
Okay. When is this float supposed to be removed? Any discussion?
As soon as possible.
Where would he move it to? Drag it up on the
A
upland?
little further up on the salt marsh.
Where it hasn't destroyed the Fragmenti, so we can get another clear, yeah.
He mentioned putting it back on the pier, but I said it's not a good idea for the winter. Anywhere, I guess,
Upland.
upland,
Josh, I don't know where else he's going to do with it.
yeah.
Yeah,
Are we
There
giving
you
him a
have-
date to have it done by?
it's up to the commission, if you'd like to see it done by a certain date. They will have to come back for an order of conditions, so I would definitely say before then, but
I don't, within the next two weeks, 3
Full
weeks?
moon, high tide? To give
Next-
him, to help with it?
All right, yeah,
So we're about 2 to 3 weeks away for a full moon, high
yeah,
tide?
within the next few weeks.
Yeah. Okay, I have sorry, I have to ask the question, with the sewer moratorium, how are they going to add another bedroom?
I think they're gonna be reworking the upstairs. He's aware of that.
Okay, so he can't add a bedroom.
Yeah,
All right,
he's
sorry.
aware of this.
I had to put on my sewer commissioner's hat
Yep.
to ask the question. Okay, so he's,
Just reworking the upstairs. He mentioned that, like, one of the bedrooms upstairs, you have to actually go through another bedroom, so I'm like,
so he's going to,
He's
he's going to
gonna have
reduce
to-
the bedrooms.
he'll have to, not reduce, but just relocate from, or reduce upstairs, yes.
Reduce upstairs. I'm going to be, the assessor says it's only a 2-bedroom house,
Yeah,
so adding the third is not an issue with upgrading sewer, because all those homes were done with a 3-bedroom limit.
yeah.
I just had to ask the question if someone considered the idea of adding a new bedroom, if it impacted.
Yeah, I told him it's an issue, and they'd have to take it up
Check
with at the
with sewer.
building permit
Yep,
stage.
with Guy.
Yep.
Okay. Is there anybody in the audience who'd like to comment on this project? I'm seeing none.
Move to close the hearing?
I have a motion
Second.
and a second to close the hearing. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstained, the hearing is closed, 600. So we have a,
Move to accept the project, standard order of conditions with the additional float to be removed upland within 3 weeks.
so that's second week February?
Well, I can tell you when the
Yeah,
full
well,
moon
2
is.
weeks, 2 weeks is February 1st, so we're going to say February 7, 8.
Full moon is in a little over 2 weeks.
Yep.
So we need to give them 3 weeks
Yep.
at least.
Within 3 weeks, so we're looking at February 14. 7. Sorry. I got it, February 7th. So that's the motion.
Second.
I have a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed, abstained.
Thank you
Done.
very much.
Okay. Next continued hearing.
Oh, thank you.
Corkley at 1014 and 16 River Terrace. This is a continued hearing. And who's here representing the project?
Good evening, my name's Cole Bateman from Coastal Engineering.
Hey. So what you done in the last 2 weeks?
It's been a busy couple weeks. We had a pretty productive couple weeks. Couple of things that the owner's done and a couple things that us as the engineer we've done. So pretty much immediately after our last continued hearing, there was some requests from the commission, commission to make some revisions. We met with Josh, might have been the day after or a couple days after, to have a working session. It was very productive, I believe, and on behalf of that, we've made some plan revisions, which is demonstrated here in the plans you've received. And on behalf of the owners, they must have received my email and pretty much immediately took the float and dock that were on the site off, and I think they put them in a dumpster, so. I think the
That's a good thing.
enforcement word was in my email, and they took it, so. From there, I think we've also received some, not really a letter from NHESP, but some follow-up questions this afternoon. I haven't had a chance to go through them and respond. DMF has also had another follow-up letter, but they did submit an initial one before the last hearing. So it seems like we have received some comments from state agencies for this project. But, okay, so that's more administrative. The plan revisions we've included is to tuck going back, the scope of this project is a new retaining wall and re-support of an existing failing boathouse. Boathouse is, I haven't been there since the December 23rd storms. I'm not sure how affected it was in this area, but I'm working on projects in P-Town where it was, so I should probably go back and visit, but as far as I know, it's still there, and they are aware that they can go in and do some temporary supports if they need to. However, that part of the scope has not changed. We still have the same kind of idea on the plan from the last meeting to go in and install a retaining wall in front of the boathouse and then redo some of the failed foundation of the boathouse and essentially fill in the existing basement of the boathouse to make it more consistent with the grade in the area. Other parts of the site at 14 and 16, originally the wall where it hits that first bend coming from 10, the wall came straight across to 16. We've now more or less followed the contour of the existing fieldstone retaining walls and lost a pretty good amount of the proposed coverage in the resource area. So talking with Josh, it seems like that somewhat hopefully goes along with what the commission would like to see. And that probably covers most of the new stuff. Oh, I just said one major thing is we've still not reconciled who owns the land between our property and the marsh. The GIS maps say one thing, and then town plans and deeds and our survey division is having a little bit more difficulty reconciling. So the goal of tonight's, our goal is to come up with a plan, hopefully tentatively approved by the commission, that we can go to whoever owns that land and say, this plan, was approved by the commission, and we need to include you as a list of the owners, and then go through the whole roundabout and get some more abutters requests. So that's what our goal is tonight. We understand we're probably not going to be able to receive a determination tonight. I think that's it for me. Thank you.
Is the new wall staked out on the property?
I don't know. I don't believe so.
Okay. So I wasn't super concerned about it because I figured you guys would be continued again this week, so I didn't reach out. But I think it would be imperative to stake out the new wall so the commission can go out and see where that's located. And as far as the property's disputes go, pulling back your wall, and again, I don't see the property lines on your new plan, so I can't speak to this definitely, but you might now be on her property solely.
Except for this corner, correct? I think this,
I would say that corner is probably where you might have an issue.
Yes,
But
yes.
I would say everything, actually, your plan does have the property lines. Does it?
This one probably has it hidden, but I do have the existing conditions plan without the overlay
Okay.
right here.
So yeah, I would say if that corner of the wall is still in question of the property lines, we need to get that figured out.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah.
Those are my concerns moving forward.
Nicole?
No questions, thank you.
Carol?
No questions.
Kwame?
No questions, thank you.
Michael?
No questions, thank you.
Oh, stop whining.
Well, you complained about being early, so
No,
I
it's
said,
okay.
okay, now Denise's questions.
Do we normally see the letters from DMF? Because I haven't seen any of those, and normally I see them.
I think that's.
It got sent
I-
out,
I do have the letter.
I have a
you would like it.
January 3rd one, and it was sent to us.
I must have missed it, because I couldn't find it. I looked through my emails. Can I keep this copy?
Yes.
And, all right, this may seem like a dumb question. How do you get the boats into this
And it-
boathouse?
I think it was more of a historic use, and under this proposed plan, that we're filling in the underneath. It's unsafe, and it just makes more of a problem than what it's worth for the owners,
So you're not going to be putting boats in there?
And no, we're doing the opposite. We're going to be kind of making it more match the surrounding area and fill in underneath the boathouse to stabilize the existing foundation walls.
Okay, and so then what is going to be above?
That's going to stay the same as the boathouse. There's the garage, it's going to be a garage now, which it currently is.
Okay.
That's where the lawnmower goes.
I'm not going to say that. My structural side is not going to say that.
This is from the January 3rd. A portion of the proposed structure is sited within salt marsh vegetation. Construction should not be allowed in salt marsh habitat or in a location which could adversely impact salt marsh. Repair of the existing structure should be within the same footprint as the existing structure or landward of the existing structure. That sort of tells me you got to remove that stone wall and put your new retaining wall where the stones are, if I read this correctly.
Well, I think the salt, where our proposed work touches the salt marsh
Yep.
is mostly over in this corner.
Yep.
It starts right where there's a jog in the retaining wall that goes out, and that pretty much flushes up with the face of the existing boathouse.
Okay.
So our difficulty is trying to get underneath the existing boathouse to put a retaining wall back in the same spot. And we prefer not to because of what we think would happen.
Well, that thing would come down on you.
Yes, exactly, correct. And we also believe that the reason why the salt marsh has extended so far landward, as opposed to the other side where the salt marsh is so far out, is because the retaining wall is prevented from the migration of sand to cover up that area, so the salt marsh is, creeped over the years.
Okay. All right, is there anybody here to comment on this project? We are continuing.
Yes, it would be,
Get some
you would
inf-
like to continue, correct? Until we figure out the property.
I would,
dispute.
but is the general, can I assume the general sense is that the current layout is more acceptable than the previous submission, and maybe something that could eventually be accepted, or would we be?
I will ask the questions. Kwame?
I believe so, and I would like to see, to actually visit when it's all staked.
Okay,
Okay. Denise?
Same. I need to see the stakes, where they're
Okay.
going.
okay.
I agree.
I think you're getting your consensus that we're closer to accepting this than we were. So maybe when would the stakes be out, the old ones removed and the new ones I know you're dealing with Provincetown and all the damage from the storm.
Oh, this is a priority. When would the deadline, I'm not sure what the deadline would be for the
How
next
about
stake.
1 week?
1 week would be probably acceptable, I think.
Is that all right with everybody? Let him change it so we get out next Wednesday to look at the new stakes.
The next meeting.
So the next meeting's what?
The next meeting's on the 1st, but if he has a week to do the restaking, then we go out
That weekend,
Yeah.
before your meeting.
a weekend before our meeting, should have the new stakes.
Okay, so around the 28th, 29th.
Yeah,
Okay.
all right.
Very good.
So I need a motion to continue.
So moved.
Until-
February 1st.
Yep, I have a motion to continue until February 1st.
In a second.
And a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstained, we're continued. The next hearing.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Scott Green, 14 Murphy Street, has asked for... 17 Murphy Street, what did I say, 14? 14. Until February 15th now. This hearing has been continued since, when did they first come before us?
Been a while.
Oh, I gotta find it. April 20th was the first hearing on this project. April 20. April, May, June, July, August. I think I think we're done continuing. We've got nothing new. I'd like to have at the approval of the commission, to have the agent tell them that February 15th is it. If they don't have anything new before us, we will close the hearing on the 15th and make a determination. How do you feel about that, Kwame?
Agreed.
I agree with that.
Yeah, I mean, enough. It's been a
enough's
long
enough.
time.
Denise?
Same.
Michael?
Absolutely.
Agreed.
Nicole? Carol?
Yes,
So
agreed.
the recommendation is that Josh contacts their agent and say the 15th is it. No more continuance. Julian, nice try, but we're done. All right, so I'll make a motion to continue until 2:15.
Second.
No, someone needs to make the motion.
Oh.
So
Motion to continue until
So
2.
moved. I have a motion. Second. And a second. All in favor? Aye. Opposed, abstained, so we're continued on 2:15 as the last time. Okay. The next hearing is Ryan Volko, at 72 Burgess Point Road, requested a continuance until February 1st.
Well,
Have we seen like all of the eelgrass surveys and everything on this? 72 B.
Yes, I believe so.
Have all of that. To review all that. Okay. Move to continue to February 1st.
Second.
I have a motion and second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed,
Aye.
abstained, we're continued until February 1st. That is the end of the hearings. We now go into a extension request.
Yes, so I'll speak briefly about this. They would actually like to remove their extension request due to the fact that it is expired. But they would also like to know the board's stance on potentially doing what would be a perpetual condition. The current notice, or the expired notice of intent that they had, was for invasive species and the ongoing removal and eradication of them. So what they would like to gauge the commission's opinion on is a perpetual condition to allow them to have the ability to file one notice of intent and not seek extensions to it.
Now, for anybody, this is Horseshoe Pond Dam, the Horseshoe Pond project at the end of Station Street. They're constantly fighting their invasives.
A perpetual, what did you say?
So it'd be a perpetual condition, and I can just read the definition of that and, some concerns I may have with it. Ultimately, I think it's a good thing, but, so a perpetual condition would be lasting or enduring forever, or for an indefinite long time, eternal or permanent. It would continue indefinitely without interruption, unceasing or constant. I don't think this is a condition we should give out willy-nilly, I guess. But with that condition, I would have a few concerns. I would say all invasive species control work shall be overseen by a qualified professional. The invasive species control and monitoring shall be done per project narrative that's attached to the order of conditions. The applicant shall work to minimize and avoid impacts to rare plants during invasive plant management efforts, and shall coordinate as needed with Natural Heritage and the Endangered Species Program. The project area will be called out on a reference plan so as to not allow for a blanket of invasive species control to take place on an entire property. I would also say that they should have annual monitoring of the sites to prevent them from, letting the invasives take over for 10 years and then going in to do a clean sweep. I think if it's going to be perpetual, it should be ongoing, and they should actually be trying to control the invasives. This would require them to not permit with us every 3 years. But I would still like to see some type of notification to the commission before they do work.
Anybody object to having them come forth for a notice of intent with this perpetual conditions with the, as stated by Josh, with those restrictions? Anybody? Kwame, okay with it?
I'm fine with that. That's.
Carol, okay with it?
I am fine with it.
Michael, okay with it?
I'm fine with it.
Denise?
My only question would be is you do a perpetual, can you do it where they have to come back to us, like, say, every 15 years or 10 years?
Well, he's got his conditions as to they come back to us.
Yeah, so I would say my conditions are a good place to start. If we have, more concerns, we can definitely talk about them before we see this notice of intent. You're not making a decision on anything tonight. This is just some concerns I would have with a perpetual condition.
Nicole?
I have no problem with that.
And I can tell you, garden clubs out there digging up the invasives. We know them. So, I would say go ahead and notify Buzzards Bay Coalition that they can file a notice of intent, and we'll talk about the perpetual conditioning of the invasive removals.
Okay.
Certification of compliance. There must be somebody here for that one.
That's a great question.
I know Brad had those in a folder, so it might be Brad.
Let's see, they gotta be close to 8 beach plum, because this one's 5 beach plum, so.
Okay,
Let's go with that project.
you're here for this. Please identify yourself.
Sure. My name's Bob Rigo. I'm with Riverhawk Environmental. I'm here tonight representing Glenn Priolo, the applicant.
Okay.
So we're here tonight for a request for a certificate of compliance. This is a new construction house on Cremesset Road on the westerly side. It's bordered by bordering vegetated wetlands, and it's also in the A flood zone, or AE flood zone. So the house was constructed, it meets all the requirements of the flood zone. It met all the setback requirements of the original order. The site's been fully stabilized. The erosion control, hay bale and silt fence have been removed from the site, and I think it's ready to go.
Yes, I did do a site visit here. I would suggest issuing a certificate of compliance for the work that was performed. Yes, that's my recommendation.
And I have some other issues for the commission, and maybe, if I could discuss them maybe
Yeah, let's finish out this
separately. Yeah,
hearing,
yes,
and
please.
we'll do that after.
So we have 1, 2, 3,
Nope, this is just for the one,
which number?
2618, 76,
Oh,
2618.
2618.
Yeah.
correct.
Okay.
Wait, this is for 2618, not 149?
It's the DEP number,
Oh, DEP number
2618.
2618.
Correct.
Okay, sorry.
It is for 149 Cremesset Road.
There it is, right there. So the recommendation of the agent is to issue the certification of compliance for SC 762618. Take a vote.
I have a question.
Yes.
This was built to plan, or are we doing as-built? Was this built to plan?
It was built to plan,
Oh, thank
yes.
heavens, okay.
So, someone make a motion?
Move to issue the certificate of compliance.
Second?
Okay, all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed, abstained. So 762618 has been voted on and approved to issue the certification of compliance. Now, you have something else.
Sure. So this property is located within the Preservation Lane subdivision. And over the years, since 2003, there's been several orders issued on adjacent lots on property that used to be connected, Lot 28, map 54, Lot 28. The subject property is map 54, Lot 29. So there's 4 outstanding orders that exist for different things that make reference to Lot 28 within the notice of intent filing and then the subsequent order of conditions. None of those properties have any work proposed on the subject lot, on Lot 28. It was just included because they were formerly one big parcel of land, or one big contiguous ownership of land. So there's an initial order, which is 76-1504, which was issued for the construction of Preservation Lane. There was 76-1779, which was issued for 6 Preservation Lane, and it was a former owner had done a full filing. That never got none of that ever got constructed. There was the next one, 76-2514 is for 6 Preservation Lane, or map 29, but again, it referenced, map 28, excuse me, lot 28. It referenced lot 29 within the order, as did all of these. The 76-2618, we just discussed it was for the subject property. And then the final one is 76-2635, which is for 6 Preservation Lane. It's construction of a dock and pier and float. So none of those mentioned orders of conditions had any work proposed on the lot we're talking about tonight. So he's trying to, now this is, what he does, he builds houses and sells them. He's about to sell this house, and the lawyers are getting involved, and they said, oh, there's all these open orders to deal with that make reference to the lot. So I was just looking, maybe the commission could issue a letter that says none of the work proposed in those 4 orders was governed by the, was on the subject property, map 54, lot 29, or 149, Cremesset Road.
So originally 28 and 29 were one?
They were always subdivided as 2 lots, but they were commonly owned up until just recently. Matter of fact, they're still commonly owned. Glenn Priolo owns both lots. But he's built his own house on 6 Preservation Lane, and this house he's going to sell.
All right, so he's built something on 28, or he's built something on 29, where is he built?
Correct, he's built on 28 and 20, lot 20, map 54, lot 28 is 6 Preservation Lane.
That's where he lives.
There's a house there that's under construction, that's nearly complete, that has an open order of conditions, and then an open amended order of conditions. So it's not finished, so he hasn't applied for the certificate of compliance yet, but will be soon.
29, he's
29
completed and
is a
wants-
fully constructed house that he does intend to sell. And he has a buyer, and,
Bit of a mess.
yeah, it's a little confusing. I haven't really seen this in the past, but
So what you're looking for us is a letter indicating that these open order of conditions do not impact Lot 29?
yes, please.
So we're not closing any of them, we're just saying it does not impact what he wants to sell at 149 Cremesset Road, Lot 29. Do I understand that correctly, Josh?
I believe so.
Yes, that's correct.
And I have no problem doing a little more research into if that's acceptable. Is that what the lawyers say is acceptable?
No, I made that up myself, so hopefully that's good for the lawyers, for the attorneys, but,
It's an attempt.
it's an attempt, exactly. And I do have, I could provide you copies of all the recorded order conditions, so you don't have to search around looking for them. I did download those.
That would be great.
Yeah, so I can get those right over, no problem.
Yeah, if the commission feels it appropriate that they would like to issue a letter, I could double check all those properties just to put your minds at ease, and I can draft up, or maybe you already have a letter drafted up.
I could certainly modify the letter I submitted to maybe to state that, to assist.
You'll verify that this is...
I will verify, yeah, I'll verify all 5 of them, and we can move from there.
I know that 762635, we denied that pier. Then we came back and worked with the owners of that to come up with a modified plan, so it was accepted. They just been unable to start the work, so.
No, it's fully constructed.
The pier.
The pier, and I'm not sure that procedurally, I have a very bad memory, but the pier is essentially fully constructed.
So it's not the common pier that everybody on Preservation Lane? It's not that one? Can I take it back?
It's for 6 Preservation Lane, right,
Yep.
which you did grant an order for.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, so,
And that's one of the included orders. And
so here it is, I believe what we're asking for is that Josh do some due diligence to make sure he agrees that the 1, 2, 3, 4 order of conditions are in fact not impacting the Lot 29, 149 Cremisa Road. Is that what I'm hearing?
I believe it's 5 orders, but yes.
Well, we already approved one.
One order does
Okay,
impact this.
Gotcha.
Yep.
Yeah, but it's not closed out yet, that's fine.
2618, right?
Yeah, we did approve 2618, so that Josh will do the research that the remaining 4 order of conditions have no impact on Lot 29. Is that all right?
As long as he verifies it.
Okay, so that, someone make that motion, that
So
Josh,
moved.
okay, Josh will do the work.
Second.
Opposed, abstain?
Aye.
Aye. No, opposed, approved? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed, abstained, so you've got a little work before you issue that letter.
I always,
Yes.
I will send Josh all the backup information, so hopefully it makes his job a little easier. Thank you very much, appreciate your time.
Thank you. Now, Autumn, up you come. I'll do minutes after we speak with Autumn. You've sat through another set of meetings. How do you feel? Autumn was in front of us in the last meeting, interested. She has submitted her request to become a member of Conservation. Questions?
Does she provide something to drink and eat? That's during the meeting time. No? No,
I thought this
okay.
was a volunteer basis.
But you have to bring
Volunteering for
cookies.
food and drinks.
One wants cookies.
That's it. Yep. No? Okay. No, I have no questions.
Denise? Michael?
I reviewed her
Yep.
application.
Nicole?
It sounds great.
Carol, do you have
I
anything
have
for
no
us?
questions.
This is another meeting. So what you think?
Good.
Good?
I don't know about that. You beat me too. She's a little shell-shocked. I'm not...
Yeah, I took this opportunity to really pay attention to a lot of the language, a lot of the references that you're drawing upon when you're asking questions and you're reviewing any hearing applications. So I do have some homework for myself to be a little more educated, but I do enjoy watching from the outside.
All right. So I guess my question is, will you be willing and can you serve as a Conservation Commission associate, meeting on the first and third Wednesdays of a month? Yes. So I would look for someone to make a recommendation that we send a recommendation to the Board of Selectmen to appoint Amber Wood as an associate member to the Conservation Commission.
I think Nicole should do that.
Autumn.
Autumn.
What did I say?
Amber.
That's okay.
It's seasons.
It would be nice to have Amber.
I move that we
very nice.
recommend
Yeah.
the Board of Selectmen
Nowadays.
appoint autumn as my favorite time of year.
I'm sorry.
To the
I
board.
just heard never mind, Vivaldi all day, so I got my autumns and my springs mixed up. Okay.
So that's a move.
That's the motion.
Second.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Opposed, abstain. I will write a email to the selectmen recommending your appointment, and you will be called to interview with them, and they'll ask if you've done the open meeting laws and the, what's the other one? Open-
Ethics.
Ethics. You have to
Actually,
take,
we have to renew.
Well,
That's after we talk to her.
so that would be making sure. If you don't have access, I will send you what I have to access both documents, so that when they ask you, you can say, I've attended meetings, and yes, I've done my ethics, and yes, I've done my open meeting law.
And print your certificates.
Yes,
Oh, yeah, make copies, trust me.
all right?
Thank you.
We have minutes that were sent out for December 7th. Denise found a few typos and adjustments, and Josh will make those changes, but if we could approve the December 7th minutes as amended by that email from Denise?
The R.
There was one thing that was really missing a whole section, so we need to put in the minutes.
I got it. I just thought it was really funny.
Yes.
I know you don't pronounce Rs in Massachusetts.
I pronounce my R's
They
most
should
of the
be in
time.
the typing.
I move
Okay,
that we accept the minutes
December 7th.
of December 7th?
No, yes, we accept the December 7th
The
minutes
amendments.
as amended.
amended by Josh.
That's the motion, and I have a second. All in favor? Aye.
I
Opposed, abstained, they are approved, no, sorry, they are accepted. We no longer get to approve minutes. And sir, you've been here all time. Is there something we can do for you?
I just recently retired. I'm in the process of moving from Phoenix, Arizona to Onset. And
You can come up and talk, please, so they,
And identify yourself.
yes, and yes.
my name is Scott Sobey. I have a PhD in plant pathology. I've recently retired as a microbiology professor at Midwestern University in the College of Veterinary Medicine and College of Graduate Studies. We're in the process of remodeling our house in Onset, and we'll be moving here over the next year or so, and I'm definitely interested in Conservation Commission work.
Wow.
Man, we are
Yay.
loaded. We are loaded now.
What about Eelgrass?
That's awesome.
absolutely yay.
One of the reasons is I've had an ongoing research collaboration with the University of Massachusetts Cranberry Experiment Station, or Cranberry Station it's called now,
On Glen Charlie Road.
and also the Cape Cod National Seashore. My research has been on the microbiology of these wetland systems. And so I'm interested in how the decisions that you make affect the biogeochemistry and everything that depends on those in the wetlands systems. So that's why I'm here.
Interesting. Yes, the town just lost a lawsuit regarding solar panels over a cranberry bog. We lost the state did not support our reasons why we denied. So always interesting on the impact of wetlands.
Mind if I ask a couple of questions, just for my interest? Do you mind? I mean, I don't know what time, okay, it's getting late, but just real quick questions.
We'll see if we can answer them.
Is $300 the maximum fine?
Yes, it is. It's required. That's as much as we can do, and that's the state. State puts that in.
That's
Not
about
happy about it, though.
about the same as a tank of diesel gasoline in one
Yeah.
of these.
And what happens is that there is, I think our fine schedule is posted online on our Conservation Commission website. The most we can do is 300. Any work requiring Conservation Commission approval in wetlands or within the 30, 50-foot no-work zone, full restoration required.
Right.
So, and then you go, other reasons why we have fines, but we recently changed them this past spring.
Restoration would be the big part of that. If we
Right.
require the restoration, that's where,
My second quick question is, you keep referring to hay bales. I assume you're referring to straw bales?
Yeah.
And do
straw
you
bales.
require certified weed seed-free straw?
We hadn't. So hay bales, you're right, is the wrong word. Hay contains seeds, and we don't want that, so we should have to say they're straw. That's why more and more of our engineers are coming to us for wattles.
Yeah, it's probably a wise thing to do. Before I was a professor, I worked for the state of Arizona. I was a quarantine manager and the state lab director. And we had a big thing about weed seeds. You talked about invasive species a little bit, and there are some non-certified straw suppliers who are not tested for invasive species. And I'm thinking if you're putting these straw bales around, you may get erosion mitigation, but at a cost.
At a cost,
I was
right.
just wondering about that.
There's nothing worse than a set of straw bales that have been around for 2 years and they look pretty ragged and they haven't been removed, so they're not, as they disintegrate, they look pretty bad.
Does the commission have a definition for native plants?
have a
I'm
list of-
sure we do someplace. I can't come to it. We've always had a list of what is referred to as native.
Because that's a hotly debated topic, and I go back and forth with the botanist at the, Steve Smith, I don't know if him or not, at the Cape Cod National Seashore, about what a native species is, and it depends on what time you're talking about. So it's, you probably know, it's not an easy thing to define, but.
No, it's definitely not.
Yeah. And you also talked about conservation weed, seed mix. Oh, you got one.
I do. We have a list of native plantings that refers to the resources of the New England Wildlife Society, the Massachusetts Audubon Society, Caterpillars and Moths of North America, Invasive Plant Atlas of New England, Grow Native Massachusetts, and Butterflies of Southern New England waterproof field references.
So they probably all have different definitions themselves. Yeah.
It's a list here that you would not believe.
Yeah. And one of the engineers mentioned some plantings, bayberry and some other things. Do you require the scientific names for these things? Because a common name...
On the plan, you will see both the
Common name and the botanical.
I was going to say it starts with a B. On the plan will show both.
Okay, thank you. And then invasive species, you use a Massachusetts statutory definition for that?
There's a definition in our bylaws of native species, isn't there?
It would be in the bylaw and definitely in the Wetlands Protection Act.
Yeah.
So you have a list of invasive species that are actionable?
Probably someplace, but I can't put my finger on it unless I go to my garden club folder and there is a whole book on invasive plants for...
Because I don't know about Massachusetts, but in Arizona, we have a list of statutorily described invasive species, so.
And the list, you cannot sell them, cannot plant them. Yes.
Yeah, we had an issue, just one more minute. We had an issue where with certain seed companies, they would throw in a packet of some kind of seeds for free, and those, I forget the name of them, but they were on our invasive weed species list, so we had to take action against them. I was just wondering about the perpetual thing that you're going to discuss next time.
Perpetual condition.
Yeah, can you just make it perpetual subject to revocation? If they
The short
violate,
answer is yes.
yeah, if they violate within the conditions, it's perpetual unless you mess up, and then we revoke. Anyway, that's the end of my questions. Thank you very much for your time. It's been fascinating
Scott,
tonight.
thank you.
You're welcome.
Our next meeting is February 1st at 6:30. Join
Okay.
us if you like. We're also on the local TV.
And we need more associate members.
Okay. Well, I won't be a Wareham permanent resident for another probably 8 months or a year.
Put that on our calendar.
Okay.
Give us your phone number.
Yeah, I emailed it to somebody, so I don't know. My CV and everything, so.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Have a good night.
You wanted to talk about anything else before we adjourn?
Yeah, I have a quick question. So, with the new associate, would she be able to come for any site visits, or is that have to wait until she's actually voted as an associate from the selectmen? To get her feet wet.
Okay, Autumn, 10:45 tomorrow morning. We have a site visit for the Fairing Hill Solar Project. On Fairing Hill Road. Just down the street from the cutoff to Blackmore Pond.
The more members we have going, I think it'll be, unfortunately.
So we're meeting with DEP?
Correct.
Yeah, and the side street that you're gonna park on is a dirt road, and it's very narrow, and it's, I didn't even know that road was there. I drive by it 5 or 6 times a week.
The road will be on
I never noticed
the
it.
left before you hit Blackmore Pond Road. Thank you, Scott.
Okay.
It's right in between Monkey Way and Squirrel Island Road.
Well, there's actually one downstairs, isn't there? Oh, no, it's in the
No,
other
you gotta see on,
If you want to give me a call tomorrow, we can talk about it.
Yeah, it's not hard to find.
My extension is 6505. You know what the phone number is?
508-291-3100, extension 6505.
Thank you.
If I can find
All
it, you
right.
can find it, believe me.
Is there anything else before we adjourn at 8:30?
and wear a rain jacket tomorrow.
Yeah. Boots. Anything else, Josh?
Not that I have.
I move that we adjourn at 8:30.
Second.
All in
Second.
favor, aye.
Aye.
Abstain.
Thank you.
Thank you, folks. Thank you, thank you.